Good evening, everyone. Let's call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand and join us for the flag salute? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome. It is 23rd, right? 22nd.
22nd.
It's May 22nd, almost the end of the year. It's our regular meeting. And I'd like to remind anyone, if they would like to speak tonight on any issue, please fill out a blue speaker slip up there. So I'd like to report out on our closed session. Item C3, conference with labor negotiators and legal counsel pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency designated representatives were Maureen Fitzgerald, Diana Zapata, Jacqueline Fabre, Rogelio Delgado. Employee organization was cause. Information was exchanged, no action was taken. And then item C4 was student matter pursuant to Education Code Section 48918A, student case number 1718007. And I think we have a motion there.
Yes, I move that the Carpinteria Unified School District and student 1718007 and parents have come to an agreement regarding student 1718007's suspended expulsion in lieu of further proceedings. I further move that the order for expulsion be terminated for student 1718007.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Move on to item C5, the approval of the minutes from our meeting of May 8th.
I move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, move on to the approval of the agenda and consent agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda and consent agenda.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Just wanted to say that I'm excited about the kindergarten. Well, there's a number of great things on the consent agenda, but I think the Kindergarten Success Institute grant is really an exciting piece. So thank you to all those involved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is a roll call. Jacqueline, can you do roll call?
Maureen?
Aye.
Rogelio?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
And I'm aye.
All right. Okay. We'll move on to E1 and our student report from Anna. Welcome, Anna.
Hi. So for my report today, I would like to inform you that May has been a very busy month for Carpinteria High School. Advanced placements exams have concluded, and this week we will begin state testing for all junior students. We should be done with all state testings by this Friday. On May 11th, we hosted our incoming 9th grade students at Carpinteria High School. So students were able to listen to student panels and learn about campus life and general advice about Carpinteria High School. At the end of the presentation, our future warriors enjoyed an annual spring fair, which went fantastically. And then we had a very successful prom and after prom on May 12th and 13th. Over 200 students attended, and some big thanks goes to the organizers, Ms. Sham, and our ASB advisor, chaperones, and to all the parents who organized the after prom. Next Tuesday, we will be hosting our annual senior awards assembly or ceremony. This event showcases scholarships, departments, and academic athletics awards of class of 2018. Senior finals will be held Wednesday, May 30th, and Thursday, May 31st. Also this month of May is the month that U.S. News and World Report releases national and state rankings of the best high schools in the United States. Carpinteria High School was given a silver ranking, and for 2018 it was ranked second among Santa Barbara County schools, 298 in the state and 1,576 in the country. Yeah, and that is all for today. Thank you.
Well, give yourselves a big round of applause for that one. So thanks, Anna. Is this your last meeting? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to come back and join us this summer?
Well, the next meeting would be like June 12th, but we're out by then, so.
I know. Well, it's been great having you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
And have you committed anywhere yet? Put her on the spot.
Yeah, it's. I'm
You
still
don't have to
deciding.
tell me if you don't want to.
Eventually, I'll make a decision. I'll let you know.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to item E2. And this is always bittersweet, and especially so tonight. But we're honoring Mrs. Figueroa, who's retiring, and I think we have a presentation.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
we'll move down to the podium.
Well, tonight we'd like to recognize a wonderful teacher who has served Carpinteria Unified School District for more than 25 years. So please join me in thanking Cindy Figueroa. Cindy, would you like to join us? Now, we have a few words for you, but before we say our words, we'd like to present you with a rose bush that you may plant in your garden and be reminded of all the many, many, many children that have been so fortunate to be in your classroom.
Thank you.
You set them on the right path to be very successful adults, and they couldn't have done it without you, Cindy. So thank you so much. So there's your rose bush. And then we have a recognition, Cindy Figueroa, with appreciation for 25 years of service and dedication to the students and families of the Carpinteria Unified School District 2018. And now I'd like everyone to learn a little bit about you and why you're so special. So if you join me right here, Dr. Fox, principal of Aliso, is going to say a few words so everyone knows how fabulous you've been for the past more than 2 decades.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you to the Board of Trustees and Superintendent Rigby for providing me the opportunity to pay tribute to Cindy Figueroa, taking time to share the respect and love the Aliso family has for her and to recognize her many contributions to the students and families of Aliso Elementary. As Steve Jobs said to the 2005 graduating class at Stanford, "Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it." If you have ever watched Cindy teach or heard her talk about teaching or her students, there is no room for doubt that this describes Cindy Figueroa. Cindy loves her work and does it with such heartfelt passion and dedication. When asked if she always knew she was going to be a teacher, Cindy replied that she had always dreamed of it. She loved school and loved her teachers, and teaching was her dream. Growing up in Rialto, Cindy was one of 6 children and confessed that as the oldest, she would make her siblings play school at home, of course, with her as the teacher. Gathering extra papers and worksheets from school, she would take them home and use them in her pretend classroom. To this day, she says she leaves all her extra worksheets in a special place, supporting and inspiring her students in their dreams of becoming a teacher. Although a dream of hers was to teach, college was not a direct route after graduating from high school. Excuse me, I got a little teary-eyed here. She stated that for her, going to college wasn't something her family talked about. To Cindy, it seemed out of reach and something for someone from a more affluent family than for her. So after high school, she got a job as a clerk in the social services, working on closed files. During that time, she found out about a new job within the department, but it required that she increase her typing speed. So she headed off to City College to enroll in a typing class. She relayed to me that when she got to the campus, she learned, quote, that there were all these opportunities and I could do anything with my education. So in 1987, she started City College on her way to becoming a teacher. As a single mom with 3 young children, Marissa, Lorenzo, and Aaron, and no family in the area, Cindy encountered some challenges, but credits the support of her neighbors and friends in helping her through that time and allowing her to realize her dream of graduating from UCSB in 1993 and becoming a teacher. When she left her position in social services, her supervisor wished her well and said that she was happy to see her leave because she had things to offer the world. Luckily, the world began at Aliso Elementary. Cindy became an official member of the Aliso staff in 1993 when she was hired by then Aliso principal Ray Hill as a third grade teacher. I say officially because during her time at UCSB, she did part of her student teaching at Aliso with Felicity Moore. When I asked her if her first years of teaching lived up to her expectations, she replied instantaneously and with a heartfelt, "Absolutely, it was the job of my dreams." She stated that she began her career with a vision of making learning fun for kids, and she believes that she's managed to do that. But that didn't mean her students didn't work hard, she says. Before they do the fun stuff, they have to work hard. Over the past 25 years, Cindy has gone the extra mile to prepare fun and engaging lessons to help her students learn. If you were one of the 750 students in Cindy's class during those 25 years, you may remember some of the interesting ways she made learning fun, such as participating in the I Montanari Italian Street Painting Festival in Santa Barbara, designing and painting an image for the festival, meeting after school to practice and participate in Math Super Bowl, presenting plays for character counts, and her annual America performance. You may also remember songs, chants, and other learning devices that Mrs. Figueroa taught throughout that time. A funny story that Cindy remembers happened about 3 years ago when one of her former students, who had been in her 5th grade class 14 years earlier, emailed her to ask, first, if she remembered him, which of course she did, and if she could send him the words to her Bones of the Body song. It seems his significant other was taking an anatomy class, and he told her about the song, but couldn't quite remember all the words. Like the amazing teacher that Cindy is, Cindy emailed the words and a copy of the music so he had the correct tune. Although her vision was to make learning fun, her biggest contributions to students of Aliso have been her ability to make them feel important, that they can meet the high expectations presented, and that everyone has a voice. There is no passing in her class. When your stick is selected, you are expected to answer. Every student knows to try their best, and if their answer is wrong, the entire class is there to support them through it. When she engages her students, she puts great emphasis on having students teach and support each other and feels that this sends a powerful message about their own skill and power of learning. Colleagues and parents commend Cindy on her ability to reach kids in many different ways, stating that, quote, "With Cindy, it's all about the whole child. She takes her job very seriously and makes sure the parents do too." A parent of a former student noted that, quote, "She is brilliant in her favorite subject, mathematics. She thoroughly covered all the required subjects, hovering longer on steps or skills her students were struggling to grasp, assuring they were solid before moving on. This is difficult to do when keeping pace with expected timelines. However, it speaks to her strong personal level of commitment," end quote. Of course, as many teachers know, it takes support and understanding from their personal families to be able to put in the extra time and effort to create an incredible classroom experience. When asked about her commitment and dedication, Cindy adds that her husband, Joe, has supported her from behind the scenes throughout her teaching career, cutting wood for projects, helping with the America performance, and so much more to help her bring the great learning experiences to her classroom. As many of us wonder what it might be like to retire, I asked Cindy where her passions will take her next. She states that she is looking forward to resting and maybe sleeping in past 6. But those of us who know Cindy know that will not last long. In fact, she heads off on a cruise to the Bahamas in July. When she gets back, she is looking forward to cultivating a beautiful outdoor space in her garden so she can enjoy her morning coffee. She is also looking forward to pursuing painting and drawing. The Bahamas will not be the last in her travels. She is looking forward to seeing many exciting sights throughout the U.S., Mount Rushmore and the Statue of Liberty, to name a couple. And if Joe has his way, we may be receiving postcards from more international sites. Of course, she is most excited about being able to spend time with her family and doting on her 7 grandchildren. Anyone who knows Cindy knows that they are her pride and joy. I would like to end this with a quote from John Steinbeck, who said, "I have come to believe that a great teacher is a great artist, and that there are as few as there are any great artists. Teaching might even be the greatest of the arts, since the medium is the human mind and spirit." Cindy Figueroa is one of those great artists. Cindy, thank you for your dedication to our students and using your amazing talents and skills to reach so many children at Aliso Elementary. Thank you. Your love, we love you and appreciate all your amazing contributions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I think the board would like to say a few words. Oh, absolutely. I know they'd like to address you. Absolutely.
Well, I've just got to say that having had the fortune of having two of our kids go through your classroom, and the dedication and passion and enthusiasm you showed every single day. Augie and Ian Thomas actually the other day in the car, they started humming the flag song or the state song, and then Olivia joined in with them. So it I think a lot of kids in this room remember that.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Indianapolis.
So, and I know you know this, but the impact, long-lasting impact you've had on so many of our students, and that will continue to impact them throughout their lives because of the strong sense of enthusiasm and confidence that you instilled. You know, I know you're proud. I know Joe's proud, but I just want you to know that you will be truly missed, and you're gonna have gonna be a hard position to fill. So but congratulations, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all that you've done for our district, and it's obvious that you are beloved by kids and families and your colleagues who are here today to support you, and have fun in the Bahamas and all your travels. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 3 daughters, and all of them went to Canalino, but I know who you are, and oh, you were there.
I had Andrea.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Oh, sorry.
And I know I know where she is, and I know she's doing well.
Thank you. I just want to thank you for your at least 25 years of service, and that speaks a lot for you, for our community, the district, and board members, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the energy in the room and the students' energy that have clearly, there are some people that have had you, and the admiration of the other teachers who are looking up to you, and I just want you to understand that a strong teacher has a ripple effect. You know, you've touched 750 students, and you've actually touched their families and their children. So really it's not a small thing to say you're now a pillar of the community after 25 years. And so please enjoy, take some time, relax, and then come back as a volunteer whenever you're ready, because we miss you already. So thank you so much.
It'll
Thank
be
you
at
so
least a
much.
year, but yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to say,
We
Cindy?
wish you the best.
Thank you.
Cindy, would you like to say anything?
I just want to say thank you, and I truly have enjoyed all 25 years. I have loved working with the students, and I have loved working at this district and being in my little corner of the world, room 16. Thank you.
Thank you. That is very retirement.
Okay, we'll move on now to item E3, recognitions. And Diana?
Yes, thank you. So we have some more recognitions tonight. On behalf of Principal Corneo, he'd like to salute the 2017-2018 team coaches for their commitment and dedication to our student athletes. These coaches dedicate significant number of hours, and they not only serve as athletic coaches, but they also serve many other duties as needed to support students both in the classroom or on the field or the court. Carpinteria High School has a proud athletic tradition, and the coaches play an important role. On behalf of Principal Gloger at Rincon and Foothill, he'd also like to recognize Veronica Nixon, the office coordinator. Staff and students are so fortunate to have Veronica as the office coordinator because not only does she efficiently complete the wide variety of clerical and organizational duties to keep the alternative high schools running smoothly, but she does so much more. She is positive, kind, and so generous with her time and efforts. She's determined to have a great impact on the educational environment for each and every student, staff member, and parent, and it's really evident in all her interactions with others, whether she's on the phone with colleagues or community members, translating for parent meetings, speaking with or mentoring students. Every day she's an active member of the Rincon and Foothill team. On behalf of CMS, Principal Briggs would like to thank Megan Kruk and Stephanie Stahl for all their hard work in setting up the new CMS Counseling Center with the generous donations from Good 360, Sonos, and Restoration Hardware. The students now have a beautiful place to go to work with counselors or meet other students, to interact, relax, work on homework, and have fun. And then on behalf of Canalino and Carpinteria Family School, Principal Pursoon would like to recognize Amy Porter for her stellar work for the district over the last several years. Amy, who is a kindergarten and first grade teacher, is moving on to new adventures in the Etowanda School District near Rancho Cucamonga to be near her family. Her instructional practice, organization, classroom management, and communication with families has set an example for her colleagues, and her students have benefited greatly under her guidance. We wish Amy all the best in her future school. And then on behalf of Aliso, Principal Fox would like to recognize Ricardo Sanchez and Rosario Vargas for their outstanding craftsmanship. Minor remodeling in the Aliso office was required, and the removal of old teacher boxes with the replacement of new ones. Ricardo and Rosario designed and installed these new boxes, and that they are very convenient, and they, more importantly, they look terrific. And then on behalf of Summerlin, Dr. Fox would also like to thank Jack Martinez. Each day he brings student lunches, mail, and all the deliveries to Summerlin with a sunny hello and a smile that brightens up the day. So thank you.
All right, we'll move right on to your superintendent's report.
Great. So we have some more appreciation. This week is Classified Employee Appreciation Week. And we all know that the classified employees are the heartbeat of our schools, and we are grateful for the dedication and contribution to our schools to ensure that students, teachers, and parents are well supported. Another item that I want to share, and this is related to Anna's information regarding the U.S. World and News Report. We also have another group. It's Educational Results Partnership and the Campaign for Business and Education Excellence, and they've identified Aliso Elementary, Carpinteria Senior High, and Summerlin Elementary for their honor roll. Their honor roll recognizes public elementary, middle, and high schools that demonstrate consistently high levels of student academic achievement, improvement in achievement over time, and reduction in achievement gaps. So congratulations to the faculty and staff and students. We also have tonight our California Healthy Kids Survey results. And since 1997, the Department of Education has collaborated with West Ed to administer the Healthy Kids Survey. We survey students in grades 5, 7, 9, and 11. And we are evaluating school climate, student engagement, alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use, school safety, nutrition, physical health, youth resiliency, sexual behavior, suicide, and gang involvement. And then in our county, the districts in our county, we also included an additional module to measure social-emotional competencies such as anxiety, mental health risk, peer relationships, respect for diversity, equity, and discipline. And we all know that a positive school climate is strongly correlated to student academic and social-emotional development as it affects attitudes and behaviors of students. And the data that we received this year provides us with a school climate index, and it's state normed. and with school-level description of factors that influence learning success in schools. So we have one group of factors that are associated with overall supports and engagement. That's high expectations, caring relationships, opportunities for meaningful participation, perceived school safety, and school connectedness. Another value is overall low violence and substance use, and that's associated with low physical victimization, low harassment and bullying, and low substance use at school. So when we look at the school climate index score, we expect, the range is 100 to 500, and our goal is for our schools to have a range of over 450 for the middle school and high school. And then for the elementary school, it's a different measurement figure, and so we're looking for 75% that students agree with the statements. So if you look at our results this year, they are very disturbing. So I want to give you a context that this survey was completed in January during the evacuations. So that's the context. I'm not excusing it or defending the results. What is really disturbing and concerning is the pattern, and the pattern is that the results are declining. So we have significant work to do in the area of school climate. I am satisfied that the results do show that the school safety measures are higher, so that's a good indication. But all the other school climate issues are related to student engagement, emotional well-being, behavior, and achievement. That is something that we definitely need to improve on, and is a major focus of our school improvement plans, our single plan for student achievement, as well as the district improvement goals and the LCAP, which will be presented in June, and you will see that those goals for school climate have been incorporated in the work that we need to do for the next school year. And we have plans at each school site to implement school-wide positive behavior programs, a social-emotional skills curriculum at the elementary level, restorative justice practices. I mentioned that our administrative team has been trained on those practices. We'll implement in the fall of the school year. We will be implementing a student advisory program at the middle school, AHA training for staff at the middle school. We will continue with the AHA program at the high school, and we will continue to provide professional development to faculty and staff to increase student engagement. So you can expect to see that work, and we will report the results following those implementation of those activities. And our goal is to have improved school climate scores next time we have the survey, which, unlike most districts, we survey every year. Another item that I wanted to share is the FFA students attended the 90th Annual State FFA Conference in Anaheim, and they enjoyed the leadership and team building sessions as well as career and science fairs. We also have some good news. Through the Teacher Network grant, our faculty received grants for gardens and caring for their Care for Our Earth grants, which are for school gardens, and we have representatives from Canalino as well as the high school and family school. So congratulations to our colleagues. And then the highlight of the spring are all the activities, and so we have 2 musicals. Aladdin was performed last weekend by the family school. Fabulous. They had every student involved. The sets were amazing, but what was really incredible, the student performers. They had such poise. It was really fun. They did a fabulous job from kindergarten to the 5th graders. It was really a fun night. And we also have something to look forward to. Seussical will be performed in June, 1st and 2nd, by Summerlin. So we will look forward to that as well. And these opportunities have been generously funded by the parents, and it's through Musical Theater International. So we're very appreciative. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Move on to item E5, and we have a presentation by Mrs. Shamblin and her virtual enterprise class. So come on up.
Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Not yet. Yeah. Hello, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Julie Rubio Shamblin, and I'm a teacher at Carpinteria High School. And I'm here today because I get the great honor to introduce our virtual enterprise students. But before I do that, I want to just briefly tell you a little bit about Virtual Enterprise. So it's a senior class that we offer at Carpenter High School. I've been teaching it for 8 years. And the premise of Virtual Enterprise is that students come together and they create a company from the ground up. So they come up with an idea, they come up with a name, logo, entire mission, they write a business plan, a marketing plan, they do all the IT stuff, so a website, they have a whole hierarchy of employees from a CEO, CFO, COO, and onward. But anyways, the idea is that I actually more serve myself as a coach, and I'm kind of coaching them through this process. My background is I actually owned a business in carpentry for 14 years, and I've got a business economics degree from UCSB. So it's kind of my passion. And this year, they were off the chart, incredible. I wrote this down just so that I could get it right. In the, first of all, we weren't able to attend the California state competition. They did do the business plan, and they got top 10 in the state. And then from there, we were supposed to be at Bakersfield to compete to qualify to go to New York and present our business plan, but unfortunately that was during the fires. So we couldn't do that. But that's okay, because we still went and we did a whole bunch of other competitions, and we won and got recognized in every single one of them. So this year, in booth design, we actually got first place out of 500 schools. And that was really exciting because they ranked it. And so they did like a bronze, a silver, and a gold. And we ended up getting gold, and later found out that we were the top scorer of the gold. So that is, in my 8 years, we've never done anything even close to that. Amazing. So that was really, really exciting because that was the big award there. And to have Carpinteria be announced was pretty incredible. And they were against not only domestic schools, but also international schools, because it was the International Virtual Enterprise Trade Fair in New York City. Also, in the national marketing competition, they got 5th overall, and again, that's out of 500, and that's the second biggest one. And we were recognized as the top 10% in the elevator pitch, and the elevator pitch is just they have 1 minute, and our CEO, who I'll introduce you to in a minute, has to do that in front of a panel of judges, and they have to deliver this, and she was just a rock star and did amazing. And then we created a newsletter, and in our newsletter, we got top 25% in the internationally. So that was really fun. So I don't want to tell you all about the company because I'm going to let them do that. But I do want to tell you that we changed the process a little bit this year, and we thought, well, we had a huge turnout every year for kids that wanted to be in this class. So we thought, well, how do we do this so that we can get the kids that really have earned it and kind of fill a perfect team. And so what we did is we used a application process this year. And so they had to fill out an application, identify all their qualities, answer a whole series of short answer questions that were a little bit difficult. We did that purposely, and then get teacher recommendations, and as well as add their transcripts and their resume. And I'll tell you that the students that did this, they really took it seriously, and hence why we got kind of what I call the dream team. What was really nice about these kids is they are all just, first of all, they all come from all different kind of walks of life. They all have really neat talents that are different from each other, but put together, you could see how working together and the collaboration of a business is what you have to have. They were great, and they were recognized all throughout. I wish Terry Jones could have been here today. She would have liked to. She's the coordinator of the California Virtual Enterprise, because she can't say enough about this group. She was just so impressed with their ability to kind of withstand the fires and then the floods, and then somehow be ready to go to New York and kind of knock it out of the ballpark. And so that was pretty cool. So I'd like to introduce Miss Michaela Blair. She's our CEO this year.
Hi, I just want to say thank you for having us here today. I'd like to bring up the VPs of the company. So if you guys can come up here and say your name and what position you have in the company.
Come on.
And COO and CFO.
So Jessica, you go first.
Hi, I'm Jessica Lord, and I'm CFO of our company, Be There. Hi, I'm Thais Alcantar. I'm the VP of Marketing.
Hi, I'm Samantha Sains. I'm the Vice President of the Sales Department.
Hi, I'm Jenny Elanise, and I'm the VP of Event Planning.
Hi, I'm Ileana Esquivel, and I'm the VP of Human Resources.
Hi, I'm Alejandra Garcia, and I'm VP of Accounting.
Hi, I'm Eric Espinoza, and I'm the COO.
So I'm sorry, I haven't done an elevator pitch since we've been in New York, but I'm going to do my best to describe what our business is so you have a nice, easy understanding. So what we did this year is we created an in-app and online sales website called Be There. So what we do with our company is we sell unsold event tickets, flights, hotel rooms through our app, and we partner with vendor corporations, for example, Santa Barbara Bowl. So if they have unsold tickets, they're going to be losing money on those. So what we do is we're going to partner with you on those. You give us your tickets, we'll sell them through our app, and we add a 10% charge to that. So we're going to get 10% of the money that those tickets sold for, and then we have a 10% charge added on to the users using our app. So that's how we make money. We don't have any inventory, if you can understand that. And you may be wondering why we titled our company Be There. We thought it's really important that we have a kind of mission, an environmental aspect of our company. Coming from a small town, here in Carpinteria, a small high school, our teachers have always taught us the importance of helping the environment and giving back in some way, if any way possible. And we had a lot of difficulty picking what we wanted to do. But one of our teachers at the high school, Mr. Roberts, he heard about the dwindling carpenter bee population. A lot of people don't know about carpenter bees. Everyone just knows about the typical honeybees that you see flying around. So carpenter bees are those big black bees. They're very docile, very great creatures. They're also incredible pollinators, better pollinators than honeybees. And, if they're dwindling down, we thought we have to help these bees. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the Bee Movie, but it shows that once those bees are gone, we're going to suffer. So that's why we thought it was really important to help out the bees. And then Jessica, CFO, is going to give a slideshow about our trip to New York. And why we thought that was so important and crucial in, learning about the business world. And we show a little slideshow.
So first off, I want to say thank you for giving us approval, because I speak for everyone here where it truly is a life-changing opportunity to be able to go to New York, especially from Carpinteria, where it's kind of just, you don't get around much. It's really small, which we love about it, and going to a big city like that really opened our eyes and taught us so much. So I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot of kind of the events that we did in New York. So the first one is a few of our students at the Brooklyn Bridge, which one day we went to Brooklyn and we went to a Yankee game. Okay. That's right? Okay. So we went to Brooklyn and we walked the Brooklyn Bridge. And we went to a Yankee game that night. It was really cold, but really fun. And then this was just right outside our hotel. Okay, thank you. Our hotel was in Times Square. So that was the scene from right when we stepped out of the hotel, which was crazy, especially if you think about living in Carp and you step outside and it's kind of just a neighborhood. And then when we stepped outside, it was a whole different world. Like, there was busy people all around, and it was 24/7 in Carp. Everything shuts down around 9. So we were really tired the entire time because we were just going. And then we can switch it. This was when we went to the 9/11 museum, which was really important for us to get on our itinerary, because a lot of us, we were really little when 9/11 happened, so it wasn't something that we could remember. But going to the actual place and seeing, this was the last column of one of the Twin Towers, and actually going and seeing it gave a whole new perspective. And yeah, and we took a class there to kind of learn more about it and kind of the events that led up to it, which really brought us closer to it. And it did happen when we were alive, so it was really important that we learned about it. So we really enjoyed that. Next one. Thank you. This was from the top of the Empire State Building. We went at night, and it was really tall. Really cold and really tall. We took a ferry to go see the Statue of Liberty, and if you've never been to the Statue of Liberty, you feel like it's going to be really, really, really big, but it is pretty big, but you expect it to be a lot bigger.
Buildings are
Yeah. And then this was actually our booth at the trade fair, so this is the award we won. We won gold for that booth setup, and there was about, from my memory, like 100 booths there. So it was really, really cool that we won this. And then I think there's one more.
Maybe one more? No?
No. Thank you so much.
This your mascot?
Yes, it is our mascot, actually. So one of the things that we asked the students to do is just think of their target market. And they were great because they identified with this market because they felt within it. And so the whole idea of kind of an impulsive buyer that wants that last second concert ticket and is going to buy it. And they all pulled their weight, and I thought that we would just show this because this was what was going around the trade booth, kind of buzzing around and getting customers to come into our booth. But it really kind of showed the dedication, and this group really kind of trusted the process and jumped in. In fact, I would say that a lot of them, even after, were like, it was kind of so fun you didn't even realize that this was work. And so kind of the life goal of that is to find something that you enjoy, and that's what life can be, and that it doesn't have to be an awful thing to be working all the time. But it's a shame. Go ahead.
I'm just a guy in the bee suit. They don't pay me enough. Actually, they don't pay me at all, any of us at all. But do you guys have any questions? Anyone from the audience or from the panel?
I do. Where did you get the funding to support the printing and your booth? It looks so professional. Where did you get the fund? So the school.
You guys, yeah. Yeah, and the Golden Raffle.
Yeah. Too. So they've been, I could let somebody else speak to this.
Well, most of our funding was from fundraising, so we did a few fundraisers throughout the year, and then we also applied for a grant that we got $300 for an environmental
Care for Our Earth grant. Yeah, because of what our company stood for and what we were planning on doing. How when we went to these trade shows, or unfortunately just one, New York, we spread that message of the importance of saving carpenter bees. So these people, the Care for Our Earth, thought it was really important, so they gave us a $300 grant. We also had a booth at the Avocado Festival. We held a rummage sale outside of CMS. What else?
Yeah, we did.
Raffle. Yeah, raffle. We also had donations from people too, so it was really great. Oh, chocolate. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So many chocolate sales going on.
Yeah, I was just curious to know how many of you, after this process, decided that you might have want to start a business someday? Can I just raise your hand?
3, 4, 5.
Lots.
I know a lot of them
That's
have
great.
thought of studying, at least going into business, at least to just study and take some more classes. I'm not quite sure that they're sure that they want to start their own business,
Yeah.
but I think the business world has kind of fascinated them a little.
Well, and I think either way, it's valuable, either knowing that you do want to start a business and then having a very clear picture of it, or knowing that after all this, it's not for me, and you saved a bunch of money, either way. So that's, I just think, I wish I had been exposed to something like this in high school. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to you, although this is, it's extraordinary to me that, in the midst of all the chaos that was happening here, you guys were able to stay focused and really produce an amazing final production for this. It's really, really impressive.
I think you haven't really stumbled on it. You've found it, but the most important lesson here is that you found something that you really are passionate about and you guys really enjoyed doing. And this is a very I could easily see this being a million selling app. I mean, if someone developed this and coded it out. And I think that's the most important lesson you can learn, is that work doesn't have to be work. It has, and that's really the secret to everything, is finding something you really love to do, and then you figure out how to make a living at it. And you guys are all well on your way. So congratulations, and thank you, Julie, for another outstanding job.
Thank you so much. You made us really proud in New York.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Shamblin, you make this look easy, and I have a feeling your years of experience and being a businesswoman as well have really served you well. And it sounds like the process that you used this year was effective in identifying strong candidates. So good luck with that.
Yeah,
moving
we have
forward.
some amazing students at Carpentry High School,
Yeah.
and so
Thank
yeah,
you.
They did it. Yeah, it's great.
Great
Thank
job.
you very much
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank you.
And I just also want to just thank the community, because I'm glad you brought that up, that, a lot of people have stepped up to support these kids, and it really was a trip of a lifetime. And I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see, these students out there tackling the city. And, the first day, it was like they were coming in wide-eyed, and by the end of the day, it was like they were hailing a taxi, like they were had lived there their whole life. So it was just fabulous, and to see the growth in 4 nights in 5 days was extraordinary. So I just want to thank anybody and everybody that supported us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let them clear out.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to item E6, and we're lucky to have our Teacher of the Year here to present, Mandy DeWitt, to present the Next Generation Science Standards.
All right. Great. So my name is Mandy DeWitt, and I teach at Carpinteria High School. And I have some information for all of you today on the Next Generation Science Standards and Carpinteria Unified and our high school's implementation of those science standards. So let's see if Great. So just a little bit of background information on why we have new science standards. So actually, if we go all the way back to 2011, there was the National Framework for Science for K through 12 science education published that for the first time identified something we now refer to as three-dimensional learning. That science isn't just one-dimensional, it's not just memorization of facts, that it is a practice that we engage in, that we do. And so it's research-based, it's all standards, all students is the motto, so all students can access science and can do science, and it also provides a content overview. Based on this document, which is, again, research-based, going way back into the history of how people learn, then a committee worked very hard to generate the Next Generation Science Standards, which were actually published and adopted by California back in 2013. And California was actually one of the leading states setting the way for the rest of the country in adopting these standards. And by this point, I think over half of the states have adopted the Next Generation Science Standards. And so these actually have the standards, which now are called performance expectations, because they describe what we expect students to do, not just to memorize. The standards also have appendices that include practices, cross-cutting concepts, and how science should progress from kindergarten through 12th grade. And then, based on those standards, in November of 2016, not too long ago, California released its framework, which is what implementation should actually look like in a California classroom. And it's a great document that is helpful for teachers K through 12 because it has example vignettes and snapshots into classrooms and what actual lessons look like. I've even tried out some of the lessons in my high school biology classroom, and they've been very engaging and really get at the heart of the content and what the Next Generation Science Standards are really about. So now that I've given you a little bit of the history of why we have new science standards and where they came from, I wanted to kind of walk back and say, well, how are they different from before? So the old standards, which were just called the California Science Standards, or CST, the emphasis was on memorization of discrete facts. And even though they could be kind of connected together into units, sometimes they were a little bit random. every single standard began with students know. And for example, here's a really fun one. Students know the role of the endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus in the secretion of proteins. That's obviously something super specific and probably not relevant to most of the general population. Also, it was considered a mile wide and an inch deep. So it kind of gave you so much information that you never had the opportunity to dig deep because you had to move on to the next topic. And the investigation and experimentation standards were considered separate from content. So you kind of just did some experiments at the beginning or end of the year, and the rest of the year you just spend time memorizing. So those are boring. And so I'm very excited that we have the new next generation science standards because we are moving away from this memorization of discrete facts and more into the hands-on learning that is research-based, that we know can actually help inspire students to pursue science and help them learn. So the next generation science standards. They have an emphasis on deep understanding of natural phenomena. So phenomena is a big word that they use in the next generation science standards because it is all around us, and that's where we ask teachers to go now, is look around you, bring that phenomena into your classroom. The 3 dimensions are intertwined together to help build understanding. So it's not just the content with any context, and so it's your just abstract, cell parts that you're memorizing. Instead, our disciplinary core ideas, which is the content, by the way, it's been streamlined. So about only 70% of the content that was in the old standards is present in the new standards because they wanted to make sure it was relevant to people in their everyday lives. And we're sending them off with a high school education, preparing them not just for college or career, but also to be responsible citizens. So the exciting part, my favorite part of these standards, are the science and engineering practices. These are what scientists and engineers actually do. So they actually interviewed scientists and engineers in every field from university to in practice, and they gathered these 8 practices that model what these people actually do when they are out doing science and engineering in the real world, and we're bringing those into our classroom, such as developing and using a model or planning and carrying out an investigation. Then third, we have the cross-cutting concepts, which link the science fields together. So it's not just biology by itself or chemistry by itself. These are cross-cutting concepts that connect across science fields. For example, energy is one of the cross-cutting concepts because that can be seen throughout biology, chemistry, earth science, space science, and physics. So that's just one example. Patterns, cause and effect. And these are things that we can see even outside of just science. If we step back and we look in social studies and math and into English language arts, the cross-cutting concepts and practices work really well with those too. So the focus here, instead of just memorizing what, is also on how. So how and why are these things happening? Okay. The NGSS, instead of being written as students know that, are written as performance expectations, and they include all 3 of these dimensions. So I've color-coded this so that you can see that it has the practice in blue, the cross-cutting concept in green, and the disciplinary core idea in orange. And this is the standard color coding that they use all throughout the standards and on their website. So this is an example performance expectation. That's a physical science performance expectation. Plan and conduct an experiment to provide evidence of the effects of balanced and unbalanced forces on the motion of an object. So the practice in blue, they're asking students, not the teacher, students to plan and conduct an experiment to provide evidence. And then of the effects of is the cross-cutting concept cause and effect. And then the content is forces. And we're looking at balanced versus unbalanced forces. And so now instead of this being an easy check off the list, this becomes a few-day lesson. The students are actually doing an investigation and they're actually modeling what scientists and engineers are doing. So this is an example of how they are different from before. So, of course, accountability and standardized testing. Before, we had what is called the CST, and now they've just added an A. Now it's the CAST. It was the California Science Test, and now it's the California Science Test. But before, some of the big differences is that each test was taken at the end of each specific course. So, for example, if I teach biology, in May, we take a biology class that same year. Big difference now. Now it's an integrated test, and they take this at the end of their science sequence. High schools are allowed to decide when that is, and as a department, Carpinteria High School has decided the 11th grade year in the hopes that students have taken science 9th, 10th, and 11th grade and will be prepared for that exam. Just for context, in elementary school, 5th grade is required, and in middle school, 8th grade is required. So before, that content only covered that 1 year, that one course, biology or chemistry, but now it covers all NGSS content. So all standards, all students, physical science, life science, earth and space science, and the new engineering part. Before it was on paper and all multiple choice. Now it's on the computer and it's adaptive, and it's not just bubbling. You have animations and pictures on every single screen. In fact, every single senior that was in this room just took the last pilot of this test yesterday morning, and they had to watch animations, and they had to drag and drop, and they had to look at diagrams and analyze data. And so it's very different, and it covers much more of what scientists are doing. And again, even though they have to have some content knowledge, a lot of it is actually in the data and in the background information, and they have to pull it out and understand how to be critical consumers of scientific graphs and charts, etc. So, with all these big changes to science, a little overview of how, as a district, we are adapting. So, at the high school, to meet the demands of the new test and standards, we have adopted the California Department of Education 3-course model. And with that, we also plan to analyze data to identify how many students are currently taking 3 or more years of science to ensure that we are providing equity and access to all of our students. And we will also analyze our master schedule to enhance 3rd+ year offerings so that we have students taking 4 or 5 years of science while they're at the high school. At the middle school, to meet the demands of the new test and standards, they have adopted the CDE recommended integrated course model. And so what that means is that earth and space science, life science, and physical science are included in each school year, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So they no longer stand alone. So they'll be getting all 3 main areas of science in each grade level. And that also shows the connections between the disciplines. Because when you go out and do real life science and physical science, you're not just working in your little compartment. In K through 5, we have adopted the new NGSS aligned FOSS curriculum, which provides hands-on equipment and learning for every single elementary classroom. And training is being provided to elementary school teachers each summer through the South Coast Science Project. And Carpinteria Unified for the past 3 years has offered stipends for the teachers to attend, which not all school districts do. And so I'd like to commend the board for providing that to the elementary school teachers who have decided to spend a week of their summer doing fun science with us. I'm one of the co-directors and trainers, so it's a lot of fun for me too. And then also K through 12, the district science leadership team worked with CIRSE to develop a common K through 12 vision for science and CUSD. And so that team consisted of teachers from the elementary school, middle school, and high school, as well as administrators. And Ms. Rigby was there sometimes as well. And we had people come in and actually help us from the beginning of last school year through the school year, really look at our district as a whole and our science vision and really build out all of these plans and a great timeline for moving forward as well. So since I'm at the high school, I'm going to give you a little bit more in-depth knowledge of how we are doing things there. So I mentioned the 3-course model. So what the 3-course model does is it still keeps the biology, chemistry, and physics courses. However, it splits up the earth and space science standards into the course they best align with. So for example, in the 9th grade biology and honors biology course, it is now technically called The Living Earth, and that's through the California framework that I mentioned earlier. And what it does, it has all the life science standards plus the earth and space science standards that make the most sense with it. And so we rolled that out starting last year, and so this is our 2nd year doing that. And as a biology teacher, I've actually really enjoyed it. So some of the ones that come into play are weathering and erosion, because we know that living things can cause weathering erosion, and also living things can be affected by weathering and erosion. So we've really enhanced that part of the earth science and biology. In addition, before our big unit on biological evolution, we go way more into ancient earth and plate tectonics and the earth and space science that goes with that. Really excited for the chemistry and honors chem. It's called Chemistry in the Earth System. It goes into chemistry actually that we can see out in the world. For example, ocean acidification is a huge challenge that our globe is facing. And so putting to use the acids and base chemistry that you use into an everyday problem. And then next year, we'll be rolling out our Physics in the Universe course, where all the space parts of the Earth and space standards will go really well with, because as you're learning about sound waves and light waves and communication, you can also talk about satellites and the origin of the universe. And so we're really excited about this 3-course pathway, and we're kind of already moving along with it. And this would be the recommended pathway for most students at the high school. That said, we are very flexible because we know that students have different dreams for their college and career, and we want to honor those dreams and hopes. And so we have the flexibility in our pathway based on college and career interests. And you can see that our 3rd and 4th year courses, we have a lot of options for students, because at the end of the day, we want them in science. And if physics is not the course that sounds interesting to them, we want to give them that option to choose something else based on what's going to set them up best for their personal goals for college and career. We also listen to students. So in the past 5 years, we've heard the student voices and we've added new courses. And so environmental science, brand new course last year that I started teaching when I came on board. Chemistry in the community is a newer course. Veterinary science, we're excited to, it's been there before, now we're bringing it back next year. Human anatomy, it's only in its 3rd year. And so we're offering these really relevant courses to students that'll help prepare them for college and career. Additionally, our advanced placement classes are open to all students to provide equity and access. And so we currently offer AP Biology, which I teach, and AP Physics, and we make sure that any student who shows interest in that course, we work with them to make sure they know how much work it is and how hard it is and how often it makes me cry, in addition to how often it might make them cry, but how much fun it is also. But we make sure that we're supporting them every step of the way if they are truly interested in want to do these really high-level college classes while they're at the high school, that they have that option. Another exciting part about this pathway is that these arrows you can see connect up and down. So if you start off in biology, but you're doing fantastic in your biology and chemistry class, you can bump up to honors chemistry and then still end up in AP biology. If you start off with agriculture bio because you are pursuing the career and technical education pathway, but you're also interested in taking honors chemistry in AP biology, you can do that. So this pathway is not set in stone. It's really flexible. You can go up and down on the pathway. We have students that have taken 5 science courses. They've taken ag bio and then ended up in AP biology, and also taking other courses in our CTE pathways. And so we're really excited about this pathway. All of the courses are aligned with the NGSS. Again, the main course is the biochemistry physics pathway, but also we're offering the other courses, which also will have the NGSS content on there as well. So here's some fun pictures of students doing science at the high school, and we want to thank you for your support, and we just wanted to give you that background knowledge on how things are changing. So if you see anything coming up through the pipeline for science, this is some background information on why. So.
Great, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
We really appreciate Mandy's leadership because she's really leading the K-12 implementation of the new science standards. So
yeah, I
very, very lucky.
I was just going to say that. We're very lucky, and I can tell that you, I mean, it's obvious that you've had input into this curriculum and the South Coast Science Project. That's so huge for us to have you as part of that, and then also as one of our teachers. So we're very fortunate to have you, and I know everyone realizes that.
Thank you. It made coming here actually so much more fun, too, because I've been working with South Coast Science Project since 2013, and Carpinteria has always had a record number of attendance. And so when I had my first day at the district. I think we were in the auditorium at the high school, and all these people were coming up to me and saying hi. And some of the other teachers were like, "How do you know all these people already? It's your first day at the district." I was like, "Oh, South Coast Science Project." So it's been really fun, actually. I love working with elementary school teachers and other teachers in general. So I'm honored and I'm grateful for the opportunity to do so.
Can you share with us how the teachers and students are adapting to these standards in terms of teaching and absorbing the information? And I'm also curious, how do you take a test in the 11th grade on something that you may have learned in 9th grade? I'm old school, so I can't even wrap my head around that.
Absolutely. So I'll address your first question first. And so the framework has actually been extremely helpful. And again, that didn't come out till November 2016 officially. But like I said, it has a chapter for every single grade level. And then at the high school, the discrete courses and different course models. And within that framework, they have, like I said, snapshots and vignettes that actually they describe teachers in general scenarios like Mrs. H takes her students outside and etc. And actually, I think Mr. Cornejo watched one of my lessons. If you remember earlier in the year, we did a predator and prey game, and it was so much fun, and that came from the suggested framework. And then I kind of adapted it and made it my own. And so in addition to all those ideas, there's also many links to great educational websites that are California Science Teacher Association approved, National Science Teacher Association approved, CDE approved, and there's also been a public comment time period for each one of these documents and a big online community of people sharing high quality lessons. And so it hasn't been without our challenges because the textbooks are still aligned to the old standards, but through the online community and supporting each other and really starting and focusing on the practices first and taking some of your great lessons from before and labs and flipping them. That's what I always tell teachers to do when they start. Instead of teaching all the vocab first and doing all the lectures and then doing the lab, do the lab first and figure out what phenomena and ideas your students are coming up with and then attach the vocab to it, because then they're all coming from the same ideas and backgrounds. And so it's been a lot of that kind of grassroots efforts, a lot of great support resources online, collaboration amongst teachers, and then just simple adjustments focusing on those practices and cross-cutting concepts, because great science teachers have been doing great science even if the old standards were a little bit boring. It's just a matter of retooling them, working with other teachers, and kind of doing things in a different order. So we're doing things like scientists and discovering things for the first time instead of doing all the book work and things like that first. That said, in the future, we do have plans to look into new curriculum. We're waiting for the tests to be solidified, and we're waiting also for the California Department of Education to make its formal recommendation. And for textbooks, they only do that for kindergarten through 8th grade. That recommendation is supposed to come out by January 2019, and usually publishers kind of wait until then for their high school curriculum as well. So we're kind of waiting till then, and then we're going to do a whole piloting and implementation process from there. So you'll see that come up towards the end of next school year, where the high school and middle school will start kind of looking at curriculum. But we've been doing all right so far, I think, just through collaboration. The second point you mentioned is the new test, and I agree. I think it's very challenging that they're asking us to do a test that has all the science on it just one time in high school. So the idea is, if we are teaching them the practices and we are teaching them the cross-cutting concepts, when you look at the new test, even though they do have to have the content knowledge, a lot of it is there for them. They have graphs and charts and data on every single question, and we are asking them to be careful analyzers of these graphs and data. So by doing more labs and looking at more actual research, when they see that on the test, they don't need as much memorization as before. It's more big idea level instead of, you must know the endoplasmic reticulum in the cell of the body, select answer C. So the idea is that it's more on those skills. Every single question is supposed to have a practice or a cross-cutting concept in it along with the content. it's still going to be challenging. So our students yesterday, our seniors, took the last pilot version. Next year, it'll be operational. So Olivia will get to take one of those first tests. A lot of them goes, oh my gosh, I couldn't remember some of that stuff because it felt like so long ago. So it will be a challenge, and I think we'll have plans in the future to make sure we're doing review with the students, and I think we'll all kind of get a little bit better over time and see how it goes. But because it's practice-based and big idea-based, I think that the students will be able to do it, especially if they're taking our third and fourth year classes like we are hoping that they do, and making them very fun and exciting so that they do take those courses.
Thank you, and congratulations. Excellent presentation, Mandy. And I thank you for being the Teacher of the Year in Hall, Santa Barbara County. Once again, thank you. It says a lot. And also you mentioned in the future that you have plans for the students. So that means that you're planning on staying a long time. I hope that you do stay. The students need you, the community actually needs you as well, and I just want to thank you for your effort.
Thank you. And the only move I plan to make is about 100 feet away from my current classroom into the new Measure U building, so I'm very excited about that. So I will be moving next December, hopefully, but still on the Carpinteria High School campus, and I'm very thankful to be here, and I can't say enough about the community of Carpinteria and how I loved the Steve Jobs quote earlier that they used, because I do love my job, and part of why I love my job is because I work here in Carpinteria. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Mandy.
Yes, thank you. Just had a few comments. I really, I think this sort of flexible pathway that makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate that it allows for kind of growth and maturity within the high school experience, because often freshmen are a little bit blurry about their future and might get really excited. So I appreciate that it's not a track, and that there's movement along the pathways. I just had a question about some of the two ag classes. I know at Santa Barbara High, the environmental science works very, very deeply on their farm. It was just redone. It's a beautiful facility. Have you seen it yet?
No.
It's amazing. They got lots of money to rebuild their farm, and so their entire I think their entire environmental science course takes place in the farm and like utilizing all of that. So how much for both the ag biology and the environmental science, are we using our kind of farm facilities or ag facilities at all?
For agriculture bio, we are. For environmental science, currently no. And that's also just because that course is only in its second year. I'm the one teaching it, and I have zero ag background.
Okay.
However, I have some great ideas that once that I have more time, like doing some partnership, like with building composts on campus and things like that. That said, we do actually have an environmental horticulture class that is on the CTE pathway.
Right.
And it's just not on this chart. And we do have students taking the environmental horticulture class where they're out in the garden every single day and in the greenhouses. And so it's not for a lack of wanting to, it's just for a lack of, I've only been at the high school for 2 years, if you can believe it or not. And it's definitely something we want to expand on because there's so many opportunities for environmental science and agriculture to work together. And I do look forward to making that happen in the future.
Yeah, I know Santa Barbara High's program is kind of like all the kids want to take that course, so it might be a real easy model to go and look at that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and then the South Coast Science Project, is that similar to the South Coast Writing Project? So it's the same idea, but just with a science?
Yes, and so we are actually part of the California Science Project, which is part of the California Subject Matter Project.
Okay.
And the Subject Matter Project has science, writing, mathematics projects, and possibly more that I'm unaware of. So we are just one region. I think there's 13 different science projects throughout the state, and so we get our grant funding from the California Science Project. So we write a grant each year to the California Science Project explaining what programs and services we are providing to the students and teachers of the tri-counties, because we serve not just Santa Barbara County, but also Ventura County. And sometimes people come all the way from Los Angeles to come to our summer institute. And so we kind of, the writing and the math projects are kind of sister projects, I guess. But that's the background on South Coast Science Project.
That's great. Thank you. And the last thing I wanted to make you aware of, which I don't know if you've heard about, but it was kind of a while ago, but there was a teacher named Marty Selfridge who, at the elementary level, was basically using the beach as a science classroom. And the students, I think, were going over there once a week. They were walking over from main school, so obviously the state's the project because it was when main school was open. But it was such a great program and such a great idea. We have this basically science lab right there. And it wasn't just marine biology, it was all sorts of different things. So I really hope that that's another way, I think a really fun way that science could be involved, just to use the beach as kind of a living laboratory, especially in the last year. So much has changed with the beach. So anyways, just my thoughts on
Absolutely,
that.
thank you. And the case part of that work with CRC as well was identifying common experiences and common field trips for K through 12. And I can't remember if the beach specifically came up, but I know the salt marshes did and the tar pits, which are all along the beach. And so we are working towards kind of a common vision to make sure that students, if they're going to Aliso or Catalino or someone, they're still all getting those shared experiences. So that's on the radar. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mandy.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, man.
All right, we'll move on to item E7, a resolution, order of election, resolution ordering the governing board member election and notice to consolidate. Can I get a motion there?
Oh, I move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? This is a roll call.
Maureen?
Aye.
Rogelio?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
And I'm aye.
All right. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. All right, we'll move on to H, business operations, facilities, and warrants. And we're being asked to approve the period of May 2nd through the 16th of this year. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just 2 follow-up questions on some questions that I asked from the district earlier. I had asked about our pizza supplier, it looks like, on one, it's check number 01-516293.
Yes. New vendor.
Right. Can I tried to find out a little more info. Any other info? Banki Bihari LLC?
What are you interested in?
Of just where they're based or what, like anything about them?
Well, I can tell you that the pizza tastes better and it's cheaper. So that's always a good thing. But in terms of where the company is based, I don't know that.
It's local.
It's here in Carpinteria.
So
That's the owner's name. It's a new owner that acquired Little Caesars.
So it's still Little Caesars pizza?
It's not the same Little Caesars pizza. It's a new owner, new recipe, better pizza.
Oh, I see.
And then my other question, again, following up on check number 01-516304. The invoice or the Ernest Kai's.
What's the question?
So I'm just confirming here, it looks like he was paid $7,600, is that correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when is that contract? When does that come up before the board again, his contract?
I believe it was last October. So it's the annual contract. I haven't checked that, but it'll be in the fall.
And we approve this the same exact amount every 2 weeks, is that correct?
No, what you approved was not to exceed number.
No, here though.
7,600. 7,600 every
Well, on
2
the
weeks.
warrant, that's what you're approving, yes.
Right, and so that same exact amount comes up every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Well, if that's what it is, yes.
So if it's every 2 weeks, then that's $3,800 per week? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then how many hours a week is that for?
40.
40 hours per week. Okay. All right. Those are the only questions I had.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, move on to item H2, gifts, grants, and donations. First gift or donation is from Coldwell Banker through the Carpenter High School Boosters to the Art Band Muses program in the amount of $2,500.
I move to approve with gratitude.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then item H2B is a donation from the Santa Barbara County Office of Education to the high school in the amount of $300 for the Virtual Enterprise Program. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve with gratitude again.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Maureen? Did you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Aye.
All right. Move on to item J, personnel. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Can I get a second?
A second.
Any discussion?
Can we just talk about the new positions at the bottom for the instructional assistants? Can I just get
What's the question?
Or
Yes,
just
I'll be happy to
trying to
have
get
that.
a little bit more background on those?
Sure.
Resignation, right?
Excuse me?
That's a resignation.
No, I'm asking
No.
about the new
the new-
positions
Oh,
that
the
are
new
in
positions.
instructional assistants.
Yes, we received grant funding for an after-school program at the high school, and these are the three positions in the grant for the after-school program at the high school.
So how does this kind of work with the reductions on instructional assistants?
Not related at all. This is an after-school program. This is not during the school day, and this is a separate grant. These are grant-funded positions. This is not related to the operating budget. It's not related to the instructional assistant reductions.
So being grant funded, does that mean these positions are only available for 1 year?
The grant was 3 years, yes.
3 years. So if we hire these people on for a 3-year position, but the grant funding ends in 3 years, isn't that what we're trying to get away from?
No, we're hiring him for next year.
Right. But the contracts aren't just for 1 year for these. I mean, if you hire if you create a new position, they're basically hired on. Isn't that correct? Unless there's a...
No, this is grant funded. This is not in the operating budget. So if we don't have the grant, we don't have the positions. So next year we'll be reapplying for the grant. This is the 3rd year of the grant, so next year we'll be reapplying. And if we receive the grant, we'll have the positions. But if we don't receive the grant, we won't have these positions.
So there's people already in these positions,
Yes.
correctly?
Yes.
And we're just... So explain to me why it's a new position then.
Because we had to give notices to all instructional assistants, whether they're grant funded or operating budget funded. And this was part of the process. And this is what you approved last board meeting. You approved everyone except these were left off that list. So this is why it's here tonight.
Well, I think as I've expressed to you already outside the meeting, I just have some real concerns about the way, kind of how the changes in various instructional assistants were managed. And I continue to have those concerns.
I understand that, but as I pointed out in 3 of the meetings prior to this meeting, is that we had to follow the contract, and all of the steps were identified by our legal counsel. So when you are in a collective bargaining environment, you have to work very carefully with your personnel processes. So we were very careful in working with our legal counsel into the process of how we had to notify instructional assistants in the overall goal of reducing middle school and high school positions.
Right, but as I explained to you, my confusion was not to do with the process. It was more to do with the end result, which I still don't feel totally clear on. And I feel like this, approving new positions, in the midst of this change, to me, feels like we're muddying the water a bit, in water that's already muddy. So that's just my feeling.
Okay.
All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right. Board communications. Maureen.
I just want to once again thank Cynthia Figueroa for her exceptional work. I think everyone here that heard her speak about her service in this community tonight was moved. The other point I want to bring in is just as we close out this year, this school year, I had the great opportunity last night to be at the dual language immersion final potluck. Parents are asked to come to a monthly meeting to kind of follow up on the work that our students are doing. And it really gave me the opportunity to reflect on this first year of this great program that the district has passed. I think sometimes in the midst of things, it's hard to really understand the changes that are happening and being made. And for me, it's very direct. My daughter comes home, and I can think back to a year ago when the only word she knew was hola. And now, literally, she's reading books in Spanish to me. I don't think, for me, there's no clearer message that something extremely valuable has been achieved that will stay with her for the rest of her life. The other piece that was really amazing is just being in that room of parents who spoke, some who spoke Spanish and some who spoke English, and it was truly bicultural, bilingual. Our kids were all speaking together. We're all eating and sharing food. And in my entire experience of living in Carpinteria, I unfortunately can't say that there's been a lot of opportunities to really understand that level of family understanding. So I wish you all could have been there last night. I wish you all could have participated in that. And I think the last piece I want to say is just our children. I mean, we take it for granted that our children are the future of this community, but really sitting there, realizing that they're going to have a totally different experience of these two languages than I did, I really see them as the bridge, our bridge to the 21st century, where language is no longer going to be a barrier to their understanding of each other. And of course, that led to conversations about planning the, service trip to a Spanish-speaking country, because really we all need more immersion. So that's my thought. Thank you so much. And I just look forward to the next couple of weeks of celebration and closure and understanding that we kind of get at the end of the year. It's a really fulfilling time of the year as an educational leader. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Maureen. Rogelio, you have anything to say?
Yes, actually, let me read this. And as you all know, I ran a campaign in 2016, and this is the main goal today, and that was the main goal back then: transparency, and we need to have transparency for the. I would say our family of 2,100 kids, and that's something that they have to have for their success. And sometimes, for a year and a half or so, actually, more often than not, I question the agenda because I have said it before. The agenda cannot be approved 100%. Nor denied 100%. It needs to have a balance. That's why we have all of these attachments to read, and probably make some corrections and go from there. And that's possibly to avoid any miscalculations, mistakes, And that's something that I decided back then that I was going to do, and I'm still doing it, and probably I'm sure that I will do it for 2 more years if I'm healthy. And at our last board meeting, I said I was confused because the union gave us some compensation figures that were different than from the ones that were presented by the district. And that's why I said that I needed to wait and see regarding the budget. And all that I need to say is that if those figures were corrected, let's accept it, let's acknowledge it, and move forward. It's something very simple. And another thing is that, yes, it's disappointed that it's been 2 months and still we are bargaining. I just hope that this is how I see it. When there's 2 different groups, the less you argue, the less that you show your emotions, the better. Otherwise, I mean, try to argue with your wife or try to argue with your husband. Okay, I'll take care of the finances. I'll take care of rules and regulations. What will happen? They will say no. And this is how that's why this is how I see it. We need to come to an agreement, and we need well, we could spend probably weeks, months of negotiations, but that's not the point. The point is that we have to come to an agreement soon, and there's 2 groups that are powerful, the union, the district. I respect both of them, both of those groups, and it's a fact that the union or the district will not get 100% of what they want. No, it's not possible. So that's why you try to negotiate. That's why we are there. That's why we are there. There's 12. I think let's see, 9, 8 plus 10, about 14 of us in that room trying to come to an agreement. And on real estate, whenever there is an agreement, it's called a meeting of the minds, and that's a contract. So I just hope that we can reach a meeting of the minds ASAP, and I just hope the best for all of us, and our students need an agreement, the board needs an agreement, the district, the community needs an agreement, and I'm doing my best, and I will even try, if not 100%, 120%, to come to an agreement. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks.
Looking forward to the last 2.5 weeks of school. We have Math Super Bowl next week, and then there's a play at Summerlin, beach day, field day, culminates in graduation. So hang in there, everyone. The kids are going stir crazy. The parents also. So looking forward to seeing June end. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This I think the favorite time of year for me. I know, just because you get to see the fruits of all the hard work that our teachers and staff have put in, and you know, that the kids are all promoting or graduating onto the next part of their life, and to see that the evolution that has taken place is quite astounding sometimes, and impressive, and it's really what makes it worthwhile. So I think that's nothing for the calendar or agenda items. So I think we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.